This episode was actually hilarious. And by hilarious, I mean this episode was hilariously bad. As usual, the funny thing is, I was actually waiting and hoping for this episode because it is literally the most gosh darn awful movie episode, whatever you want to call it. It's the worst thing ever, bro. Like, people think I watch this show because it's good, but the thing is, no, it's not because it's good, but because it's She-Hulk, and this show makes me want to force spirit fission my soul out of my body. Also, just a side note, midway through writing my review for this episode, I literally couldn't remember a single thing on Kandor's moon that happened in this week's episode, I promise you. So, episode recap aside, this entire episode was about She-Hulk getting sued and, bull swag happens. A bunch of BS happens, as we know. And there is a small little side plot about Jen getting a suit that finally fits her. Finally. Like, seriously. We'll get to it. And also, of course, the stereotypical, gay tailor who makes all the suits. He's black now. Because, really got to emasculate black men some more. Thank you, Disney. Thank you. But nevertheless, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Jen starts listing off the benefits of being a man, of being a Hulk, such as the overused statement that every single gender studies major uses, and I'm pretty sure it made them wet watching this episode, I'm sure. Saying how she can walk outside at night with her headphones in and blah, not being afraid of being harmed at night. Funny because still men are more likely to be attacked for a violent crime, especially assault, but whatever, so that means every single time that a woman uses it, it's literally inaccurate as hell. Literally, it's inaccurate. Also, can this freaking character decide whether or not she likes the name She-Hulk or not? Because I get so tired of the back and forth. Seriously, if I wanted whiplash, I would watch opposing opinions about this show on YouTube. Literally, I'm going to do it anyway. Also, I just want to point this out, but remember that little quote that She-Hulk made about being able to control her emotions infinitely more than the Hulk? Yet in this episode, she loses her temper and she doesn't even notice it, that she's bending and crushing her freaking stapler. Very emotional, Jen, not gonna lie to you. Very womanly of you. Also, I don't know who this black female lawyer is. They said her name, I forgot it. This show sucks. I will say this, I love her character because she is the only woman that would dare talk down to Jen, and I love her for it. I love it. Also, I just want to point this out as well, real quick. In the comments, of the courtroom, the whole courtroom situation, you want to know what's funny about it? She literally is the most unprofessional. I love the black lady, in this episode, but she's a little unprofessional. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time I checked, lawyers don't actively act like children when they're trying to make their case. Just saying. It's a little, you know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry, getting ahead of myself. But I just want to point this out as well. In the comics, right? For those who read this, whoever reads the comics, right? You ever notice how in the comics, whenever Jen was doing lawyer stuff as the Hulk, as She-Hulk, she actually looked very visually appealing in her suit and out of her suit. Interesting, right? I never understand this obsession with modern Hollywood and masculinizing the women and feminizing the men in their shows. They have no problem showing the sexually appealing side of men in these superhero shows all the time, but showing a woman who's sexy and a businesswoman, of course, it might offend the blue-haired women with eating disorders in this show, so therefore, she must look average at best, literally. Shout out to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. Also, the courtroom scenes are still unbearable. Literally, they're just unbearable. You know what's crazy? All you gotta do is just, consult actual lawyers about how this looks, because every time they do a courtroom scene, it looks about as barren as Jessica Dow's DMs, I promise you. And again, I love this black lawyer. I really do love her, but she is really unprofessional. Like, she comes off as a child in this courtroom case. I cannot lie to you. I don't know too many lawyers who do this. I just don't. Also, side note, I just want to remind y'all, you remember how Titania was, a very strong and competent warrior and fighter in her own right, to the point where she can literally go blow for blow with She-Hulk? Like, seriously, just to let y'all know, that was in the comics. It happened. It existed. But yay, influencer Titania, cool. It's not like she has super strength and can take a punch from freaking She-Hulk like she did in the first episode. Seriously, who is writing this show? This show hates anything that is action oriented. And you know what's funny? You think that since they're about legal stuff and they hate action in this show, you would think that they would double down and make their legal show so compelling, dramatic, and stylistic and amazing. But no, it's just as bad as everything else they do in this show. As far as CGI, action, everything about it is terrible. Also, I just love how the stereotypical gay stylist, tailor, whatever you want to call it, this kind of guy, he talks down to Jen, and it is still hilarious because it's funny because the only male with balls in this show just so happens to like balls himself. That is hilarious. Literally, I kid you not, it was the most funniest thing in this entire show. Watching anyone in this show, not kiss the ass of Jennifer Walters. It is incredible. It is a sight to behold because it's rare it actually happens. Also, all of her dates return in this episode to basically give their statements on her being She-Hulk and her getting the rights to her name or whatever, and I don't care. Also, I find it interesting how she called the one, typically unattractive male as the guy with the fetish. But the good-looking, attractive doctor who only wants her because she's a green, giant, violent, masculine-looking woman doesn't have a fetish because he's good-looking. That's hilarious. But because the one creepy guy, quote-unquote creepy guy, said specimen, he has a fetish, Idiots. Again, who is writing this show? Jessica, please. So she then goes on to win her case, and then they go out for drinks or whatever with her, with her lawyer. Again, unprofessional as I don't know what. Seriously. And she literally said that she is the client and she is the lawyer in the beginning of this freaking episode. So why? So then they make a bunch of feminist quotes that I'm sure the writers couldn't help themselves but to put in this freaking episode, saying that, he never had to prove himself to a bunch of unimpressive men or whatever the heck it was. And I'm just like, I'm sure he had to prove himself to a bunch of women. Seriously, the people who write these idiotic shows, and now I'm finna get real mad because I'm tired of this freaking writing going on. Do the women who write these stupid feminist girl boss lines and quotes, do y'all just think that men just walk through life carefree, worry-free, they just get handed privilege right off the bat just because they have a glizzy? Is that what these women think? Is that what y'all think? It's just so easy being a man. I dare you, be a man for a day. You will be crying for your ovaries again. I promise any of you women. Anyways, excuse my anger and my outburst, but have a wonderful day, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll do all that good stuff, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.